Another day has arrived, and we are still in the same place of disarray. Hope is in the distance. I can see a tiny glimpse of light, just a tiny, tiny light. It is there, I know it. I can feel it in my heart. I have prayed for it for oh so long. I know that it is coming our way. Tomorrow may not arrive. Yesterday has gone, but this I know. Today is gonna turn out just right. Colonel Chris's a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our prayers are being answered, so don't despair. Someone we can trust, which has been a long time coming when our hopes were shattered. He is that tiny bright light in the distance. Tomorrow may not arrive. I can feel it in my heart. I have prayed for it for oh so long. I know that it is coming our way. Tomorrow may not arrive. Yesterday has gone, but this I know. Today is gonna turn out just right. Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our prayers are being answered, so don't despair. Someone we can trust, which has been a long time coming when our hopes were shattered. He is that tiny bright light in the distance.
Actress Sweeney came out this weekend that she was a registered Republican. Any thoughts on that?
That who was?
Sweeney, she's like a very hot actress right now.
She's a registered Republican?
Yes.
Oh, now I love her ad. Is that right? Is Sydney Sweeney? You'd be surprised at how many people are Republicans. That's what I wouldn't have known, but I'm glad you told me that. If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I gave up on denim, thought it was dead, but Sydney's jeans turned my head. Faded blue with a reckless vibe, like a memory I can't untie. Sydney's jeans so hot, so cool, making old rules feel brand new. I want a pair, I need them now. American Eagle, show me how. Thread so fine, they tell a tale. Every rip's a story, every stitch a sail. She walks the streets, she owns the scene. I'm chasing chasing dreams in Sydney's jeans. They bring the past into the now. I'm sold, I'm hooked, I don't know how. Sydney's jeans, so hot, so cool, making old rules feel brand new. I want a pair, I need them now. American Eagle, show me how. Blue waves crashing on my thighs, wearing the stars under open skies. Sydney's vibe is the fire I crave. Denim dreams that can't behave. Sydney's jeans, so hot, so cool, making old rules feel brand new. I want a pair, I need them now. American Eagle, show me how. Sydney's jeans, so hot, so cool, making old rules feel brand new. I want a pair, I need them now. American Eagle, show me how. Sydney's
Hey folks, welcome back. Well, to the Neanderthals, the canines, the right-wing podcasters, aspiring car guards, South African media, welcome to all of you. Thanks for tuning in tonight. It is still Wednesday on this side of the Atlantic. Wednesday, my clock is 2 minutes behind. Every month I have to change at least twice because that Chinese clock falls behind. It can't keep time. So it is 11:09 Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast of the United States. And that was Sydney's Jeans. Yeah, that's one of two songs I put together. That one's actually Sweeney's Hot Jeans. That's the title of that one. Yeah, Sydney's Jeans. Played that one on the radio tonight on WSMN on my program earlier. People enjoyed it. Hope you like it as well. So, listen, I want to just cover something here very quickly because this is what these racist, bigots, slimeball, hate wankers do. Do you know that Sydney Sweeney's jeans actually have a meaning to them? There's a purpose why she did this. It's actually a campaign. Did you know that? Was that lost on all of us in the racist, the misogynist, women hating, beauty hating, black supremacist, anti-white, racist nonsense that's going on? The woke DI garbage is happening. Did you know that there was actually a purpose to her campaign? There is. I actually heard about this earlier tonight and I looked it up and it's true. So this jean campaign, actually, American Eagle campaign featuring Sydney Sweeney and the Sweeney Jean is intended to raise awareness for domestic violence. Domestic violence. A portion of the proceeds from the sale of the jeans will be donated to a crisis hotline. The campaign also uses a butterfly motif on the jeans as a symbol for domestic violence awareness. The campaign has generated controversy, yeah, but they shouldn't. So here's the cause. The campaign ends to raise awareness for domestic violence, a cause that she's passionate about. The limited edition Sydney jean is part of the campaign with 100% of the purchase price donated to the crisis text line. So the limited edition Sydney jean, I don't know how many pairs they made, 100, 1,000, whatever, 10,000. Every penny from those jeans goes to the crisis awareness for domestic violence. Unbelievable. And all we hear about is this garbage about, this stuff. Sydney Sweeney is doing this for domestic violence. Obviously a lot more to it, but yeah. There you go. There you go, folks. Domestic violence. And this is what we hear. We hear this attack on a beautiful woman because she happens to be white. Meanwhile, apparently, apparently the images, I don't know if it's true, but the images of Beyonce are altered. They're doctored. I don't know if that's true. Of course it's Chinese. What else could I buy? The corporate elites have sold us down the river. Everything is made in China now except our babies. Yeah, those are made in Mexico and Kyrgyzstan and Nigeria. That's where our babies come from. Yeah, because we allow criminals to invade our country. Yeah, South Africa's already hurting without U.S. trade. It's already hitting hard. Another excuse to deflect from beautiful woman who doesn't go woke. Exactly. That's why they attacked her, because she's not woke and she is a beautiful woman. Yep, and she's white and has blue eyes. And the racists hate that. It burns their shorts that 3 out of 4 people in this country are white. That the only reason brown people have flooded in this country is because white people allowed it. They're the ones who changed the laws and made it possible. In fact, we pay for brown people to come over here as refugees every year. Hundreds of thousands of them. We also allow millions of people to become citizens, and no one else does that, but Americans do that. And who did that? White people. And all this nonsense. You know, these people, they should all be Canadians. We recognize that we're sitting on stolen land. We're not giving it back. But we took this from the Waka tribe. We stole this land from the Waka tribe, which the total population in 1750 was 22 people. But we stole the land from them, all of the province of Ontario, the Waka people. Please stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Idiots. The Canadians are such soy boys. Every one of them does that stuff. Same in New Zealand. We're on stolen land. Really? I mean, I think the Maoris stole the land from the fauna, the flora and fauna that were there, from the fauna the flora, the fauna that they wiped out. Yeah, all the birds that they destroyed, the kiwis that they obliterated. Yeah, I think they stole the land too. Yep. First Nations, indigenous, my butt. There's no such thing as indigenous. Nobody's indigenous. It's all just racist terms to disparage people. Look, and it all started with a good intent. Well, if we call them First Nations or indigenous people or native peoples, then we'll make sure we draw attention to their plight. Their plight is they got their asses kicked, and either by disease or by overwhelming forces from elsewhere, and they were abused, and that's their plight. So tell the truth and don't look for made up empathy. Yeah, but he will at least say he is punishing white people. Who's that? Yeah, well, all sub-Saharan African nations got 15%, but the ANC gets 30%. Yes, and we're going to have to listen to this clown now. Let me find it here. I thought I was ready to do it, but I'm not quite ready. It's here somewhere. Give me a moment. Let me see where I've got it at. Got to save this darn thing. No, it's not here. I thought I had that handy. Let me look for it here. Well, I know I've saved the video, so that's worst case. I've got the video. Maybe I closed by mistake. Hang on a second here. There we go. Come on. Downloads. All right, let's see if we find this real quick. Here it is. Oh, yeah. Is that the same one? That's actually not the same video. I thought I saved it. Oh, come on. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find this because I got the whole thing on Twitter. Somebody sent it to me, and I didn't close it, so it should be here, but I'm not finding it now. Is this it? There it is. No, that's not. Okay, it is the one I have. Okay. Silly me. Okay, I'm a little confused. 110 people here now, folks. Be sure to hit the like button. Right. I'm going to update you on that ship.
If it means we're going to suffer through sanctions to subvert.
No, that doesn't work. It's not download. There's a problem with downloading these things now. So I think they're doing this intentional so that the video is offline with the voice. Another effort to stymie people trying to use content to expose frauds. All right, so we're going to listen to Fikile Mbalula and hear what he's got to say, and I'm going to comment on this as we go along, okay? So this is what this genius has to say. This guy's intentionally trying to provoke the United States. It's just all that's going on here. He's intentionally trying to provoke the United States. So let's just go ahead and deal with this. Okay, this is Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General of the African National Congress, what he had to say to the press today.
Possible. If it means we're going to suffer through sanctions as leaders of the ANC, let it be. We'll never beg imperialists to subvert our democracy.
Excuse me, imperialists, what the hell are you talking about, genius? By the way, what is that on your face? This is a beard. I don't know what that is. Did somebody go crazy with a razor last night? Imperialist. This is just guy just trying to play the victim here. What imperialist? You don't know what empire is, genius. You want to see empire? Talk to Shaka Zulu.
To subvert our sovereignty. It happened during the period of struggle. It will happen even now. We will never forsake our country, which we fought.
Look there, Krispy Kreme. You didn't fight for anything. You didn't fight for anything. Oh, Krispy Kreme there.
For its liberation. And we're still marching on even.
You're marching. You're marching with your head up your ass. You didn't do anything, buddy. You didn't do anything. The National Party realized the jig was up. The Cold War ended. They couldn't justify the fight against communism, and the game was over. So they put a referendum to the white population who were allowed to vote, and 62% of them, not 69, 62% of them said, okay, we would like to change the system of governance. That's what happened. You didn't win anything. The National Party betrayed all South Africans, rolled over and took it up the backside when they had the cards, and they just screwed the pooch royally and allowed this nonsense to happen.
Now, not this ANC. Not this leadership. If they want to bring sanctions on us, let them bring them.
Okay. All right. You want sanctions? All right. Sanctions today, sanctions tomorrow, sanctions for you. Fikile wants sanctions. All right. Let's see what we can do to accommodate him. Okay. Let's take away his visa, his MasterCard, his international travel, and all the other things that he relies on. Yep.
But this country, South Africa, all its citizens know that it is a democratic country.
No, it's not. It's not even remotely a democratic country. It's a facade. People don't vote for people in South Africa. They vote for party lists, and corrupt parties run the country. Yeah, the proof of the pudding is this conversation right here. This guy's talking on the heels of the National Executive Committee, where they formulated policy, and they determined that it was up to them to kick a co-equal partner out of a coalition that they don't have the ability to do. It was up to them to decide what the foreign policy of South Africa was in their party headquarters. It was up to them to decide what policy was. There's a cabinet comprised of 10 members of the coalition, but they weren't talking to the cabinet. They weren't talking in the government. These ghouls were talking to the ANC. That is not democracy. That's an oligarchy of incompetent elites. That's what this is, an oligarchy. It's not a democracy. You can sit there and pretend to play it all day long. How can you have democracy when your highest court declares that singing the song Kill the Boer is hate speech in 2003, but in 2024, they say it's not hate speech, to conveniently give protection to a person who has led to the death of many South Africans? Yes, with his mouth. You know who I'm talking about.
It's a liberated country.
No, it's a collapsing country. It's not liberated. It was not liberated. It was released. There's a difference. The National Party released South Africa. No one liberated. You didn't do anything. The Pan-African Congress did far more than this jerk did. The Black Sash movement did more than this. Steve Biko and the Black Conscious movement did more than this. Heck, the Liberal Party under Helen Suzman did more than this clown did. They ran off to London, to Paris, to Moscow, to Havana, to Beijing, living up the life, suckling off the teat of communists and leftists. Yeah, went to Oxford, went to Harvard, went to Yale. That's what they did. And a handful of them, a small number of them, resorted to terrorism. And an even smaller number of them ran off to Angola and pretended they were soldiers and got their hats handed to them by the SADF. Please, spare me. This is such rhetoric, such bullshit.
We're still transforming this country in order to achieve equity.
Equity, really, for the 100 caters who have all the money. Now, he's going to talk about white monopoly capital and talk about the white people. Well, it isn't the white people running this country. It isn't the white people destroying this country. Some of them are. There's a handful of them that are complicit, but it is you, caters, in the ANC.
And we will still pursue redress.
We will still pursue redress. That's a faux pas. He meant to say still, but he doesn't know how to say still. He said steal. We will still seek redress. What redress? What redress are you looking for, hero? The Truth and Reconciliation Commission was a sham. If you were an apartheid-era government apparatus, you came forward and admitted the truth, you were sent to prison mostly. If you were a black South African involved with the terrorist group MK, you came forward, admitted your crimes, and pretty much were given a free ride and released and forgiven. They're still pursuing apartheid-era people and not pursuing the criminals in the MK who murdered people. They're not doing that. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission, held up to the world as a model for reconciliation, was bulldog. It was bulldog. It was nothing but crap. It was total fiction. Total fiction. Someone the other day said to me, well, this guy needs to read Country of My Skull by Antje Krog. I read the book in hardcover when it came out. She's a journalist who covered the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. This isn't redress. This is revenge. Revenge by people who weren't even harmed by this. These are people who've harmed all black South Africans for 30 years, and they're blaming other people. Yeah, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was a scam.
Because we are not equal.
No, you're not equal. Caters are more equal. And that's why you've amassed billions of dollars of wealth. That's why you ride around in blue light escorts. That's why you imprison white people for speech and let black people call whites Neanderthals and genetically inferior walk the streets, and all they have to do is give a lame-ass apology by your captured South African Human Rights Commission. You're right. You're not equal. You're not equal at all. That's why black nurses laugh at coloreds, Indians, and whites in hospitals and deny them care, and they die. Because you're not equal.
This economy is still male white dominated.
What planet is this fool living on? Still male white dominated. Every major mining manufacturing company has been given to black ownership. All of them. Siboney Stillwater, black folks run it. Anglo-American, black folks run it. What is he talking about? His point is that it isn't 80% black. That means it's not equal. Well, that's bullshit. People who found companies and build them shouldn't be forced to give their equity over to people who didn't earn it. You want a big company like that? Then form one. But no, that's too much of an effort. Stealing is the easier path.
And you want to tell us to abandon policies that seek to advance transformation.
No, people want you to abandon your racist policies disguised as transformation. Transformation should have occurred. It did occur. You have a constitution that in theory gives everyone the same rights. You have a government that in theory should represent everyone at the national, the provincial, and the local level. But it doesn't. It represents one body of people in the country. And that ain't black people. It's ANC cadres and their elite friends in the Patriots Network. That's who.
We're told by somebody who's more wealthy than all of countries combined in the world that I'll give you Starlink, but you must not do black economic empowerment. So
this clown has a problem with Elon Musk building a $400 billion fortune. He's got penis envy. And so look at the distaste, like somebody stuck a turd under his nose, because Elon Musk says, I will bring Starlink. And see, he didn't see this is, I will give you Starlink. No, he will bring Starlink to South Africa if he's not forced to give his equity to people based on their skin pigmentation. Is that too much to ask? Who in South Africa designed Starlink? Who in South Africa took the risk when there were no rockets to launch the satellites? Who in South Africa raised the capital, designed the network, built the security system, and delivered the service? Nobody in South Africa. Not a single person. Not one person, black, white, or brown, did that. Who risked their fortune? No South Africans. And now this jackass thinks that it's perfectly okay to tell a guy who wants to deliver services to those in rural areas who don't have access to high-speed internet, because these fools have destroyed the communications network in South Africa, that he should give over his equity because they destroy the country. No, they're greedy, rapacious thieves, and they want to give the equity to their friends to curry favor.
In our country, we must agree to that. It's not possible to agree to that. You are asking us to abandon what we stand for.
Yes, we ask you to stop being thieves. We do. We expect you to actually represent the people of South Africa. We do want you to stop standing for what you represent, which is kleptocracy. 100%. We do ask you to stop that. That's a reasonable expectation. I don't know why you think that's an unreasonable expectation.
You are asking the ANC, this African National Congress, to stop struggling.
Struggling? Struggling? Well, maybe if you're thieves, we give some of the money they steal to the party, you wouldn't be struggling. You wouldn't have to go to Tehran for money. Stop struggling? What are you struggling against? You control the police, intelligence, the parliament, the provincial legislatures except for Western Cape, all the municipalities except for Cape Town. That's about it right now. You've even got Sweeney back in Joburg. So what are you struggling with? You're struggling with responsibility? You can't handle the task? Maybe that's what you're struggling with.
And then a close shop and become something. We're not DA. DA has to agree with that because they don't want affirmative action. Leave.
Actually, that's a lie. DA loves affirmative action. See how these leftists lie? The DA loves affirmative action. They don't have a problem with it. The DA is the biggest apologist. They apologize for apartheid all the time, even though they had nothing to do with it. Every white member of the DA that gets a camera in front of their face apologizes for apartheid and says that affirmative action is good. This guy's so full of it is not only her eyes brown, but his skin is brown. It's been darkened by the bullshit coming out of his mouth.
Black economic empowerment. They don't want affirmative action.
No.
They don't want redress.
No.
They don't believe in transformation.
No, people don't believe in racism. They just don't believe in racism. You know, we foolishly thought that racism, or that state-sponsored racism had gone out when the National Party left office, only to discover that the ANC brought the same thing right back in with their favorite class of people. Now, the DA doesn't want that, but they love affirmative action, so stop lying.
We are talking about black economic empowerment, which we reviewed and said that is triple BEE. And then we broadened it to be broad-based and all of that.
And all of that. Yeah, we reviewed. You, the ANC. Nobody else in the government did. Once again, you arrogantly, with just 40% of the population, only 20% of eligible voters showed up and voted for you, and you act as if you run the country. Well, you do, because you have feckless partners who roll over and take it up the backside as if they're hanging out of the gay bathhouse. Oh, that's the wrong imagery, isn't it? But it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
And then their anti-transformation is a party of anti-transformation.
Yes, a party of anti-transformation. Anybody with got any common sense is going to be anti-transformation, because transformation is racist code word for black supremacy and cater deployment and patronage. So anybody with half a brain would be anti that. 100%. 100%, buddy. 100%. Yep, 100%. Dennis LaRue says the whole world sees us as idiots. We're advertising how stupid we are. That's so sad in so many ways. No coming back. Yeah, it just shows you how stupid they've been for so long. And a lot of the stupidity that's happened in South Africa, oftentimes people chalk it up to malicious behavior. No, it's just incompetence and stupidity. Neil de Beer said it best when I spoke to Neil, my most recent trip to South Africa. I said, Neil, I don't understand. Why do they keep making these own goals? What's their end goal? Are they intentionally trying to piss the US off? Or are they just that stupid? And Neil said, and Neil knows him very well. He said, Chris, they're just that stupid. They're really just that stupid. Yeah, that's it, Jeremy. The more you lie, the more you believe the lie, the more you're invested in the lie. Yep. Exactly. All they did was extend it to ownership, staff, and suppliers and add layers of corruption. Anti-racism is, by the way, worse. You just call fancy words, but hey, the African struggle. It's always struggle. Robben Island was a gay bathhouse. I don't know about that. Listen to the cock that is coming out of his mouth. Thanks to my husband and many other jobs online, we struggle daily with the idiots running our country. Yeah, nothing good comes from hate and revenge. And that's why they dressed up the Truth and Reconciliation Commission as this thing to reconcile things. The Rwandans were far more successful with their trials, far more successful in reaching some level of reconciliation. They didn't really get it, but they got more than South Africa did. They say they're struggling, but the fat cats eat well every day. Steal, corruption, all they know. DA is kept is deep in their asses. Listen to the hatred coming out of his mouth. Yeah, everything's hatred. Did you hear what he said about about South Africans who came over here? Yeah, let me see if I can find it here real quick. What I got? So I need to read a couple articles here. That's what I need to do in the morning. He said, where's it at here? It's towards the end. Talk about car guards. So. Yeah, there it is. Fikile Mbalula says 49 car guards arrived in America in reference to so-called refugees in America accepted from South Africa. Do you see the contempt that this man has for fellow South Africans? Also, his math is very poor, too. Must be a 30% graduate. It's 59. How many times do you have to be told it's 59? But the contempt he has for fellow South Africans, so-called refugees, car guards. By the way, those car guards are now restaurant managers, car wash executives, HVAC technicians, poultry farm supervisors, and much, much more. We don't need your car guards. Keep them in Santon City. That's where cars get broken into. Cars don't get stolen here in central Pennsylvania. We don't need your car guards. But we are happy to rob you of your human capital that you so foolishly squander and fritter away by your oppressive racism against whites, coloreds, and Indians. Yep. So Karen says she went to SASA and it seems like they're only reviewing people who are white or Indian to cut them out of SASA. Yep. Yep. Yeah, even the South African Communist Party is leaving the ANC. That's how bad things are for them. You know, when the communists leave your Communist Party, you know things are bad, right? Yes, I know about Quattro Bread. I've talked about it many times. Yeah, so much contempt for people. I need to... Ronaldo sent me that link, too. Let me find that. That's what I was looking for. Sorry. Okay, let me find this. There it is. Is this his video, though? If it is, I'm going to be mad at him for sending me his own video. Nope, that's not his video. It's News 24. Cool beans. All right, that's the one I want. I want that. I want that contempt. I'm going to find that later on. Yep. So much they brought in against us. Cockprodders is what they are. We never have been wealthy in our lives and cannot even buy a home. Yeah, Leon, exactly. Most white people can't do that. Whites make 20 times. No, they don't. No, a handful of people. A handful of people. They're speaking to their uneducated people. And so, well, the problem is that this stuff is for the world to see. It's for the world to see. Stracott's laughing about black supremacy. I won't share my thoughts on it. Only one thing more funny: black excellence. Are the ANC delusional? No, they're just whistling past the cemetery, and they're in denial. They're in denial. How long after World War II were Germany and Japan back on their feet? Germany, the Wirtschaftswunder began in the 1950s, less than 10 years after the war. Less than 10 years after the war. Remember that involved several years of denazification and trials. The Nuremberg trials, which went through the late 40s, then denazification, then, all the rubble had to be cleared up because the entire country was destroyed. Every building in every city was just obliterated. And so they started from scratch. In fact, there were so few able-bodied men because they were being held as prisoners of war in Soviet concentration camps or in labor camps in the Urals and things like that, or they were dead, that it was 70 and 80-year-old women and men walking around with wheelbarrows, picking up the rubble of the buildings that were obliterated and clearing it. There are hills outside the city of Cologne on the Rhine River. I think there's 7 of them. The hills are entirely rubble that was hand-carried by elderly Germans and the Germans who survived to clear the rubble of Cologne from the Second World War bombing from the British and the Americans. The Germans were fully back on their feet by 1956, 57. And from then on, the Wirtschaftswunder just took off and they became a world-class. Germany became the world's 3rd largest economy. Split Germany, not Germany, but what became West Germany became the world's 3rd largest economy, which is 60 million people. 62 million people, and it was the world's 3rd largest economy. The United States, Japan, and China, and West Germany were the 3 biggest economies in the world. Yeah, less than 10 years. The ANC has had 30 years, and they didn't have to build anything. They didn't have to dig clearing up the rubble. They didn't have to deal with an inverted population or an out of whack population because the healthy working class men had all been wiped out in conflict or were held in concentration camps and labor camps in the gulags in the Ural Mountains and in the Arctic. They didn't have to do that. The ANC came back with their educated elites from Oxford and from Cambridge and from Harvard and Yale, the likes of Thabo and Mbeki, the technocrats. They inherited a functioning society where the roads all worked, the highways were in good shape, the rails worked, the airports worked, electricity functioned. South Africa in 1994 delivered 43% or 42% of all the electricity generated in sub-Saharan Africa. A little tiny country of 34 million people produced almost half all the commercial electricity in the entire continent of Africa in 1994. Today, they can't keep the lights on. They can't ship coal. They can't manufacture things. Their industrial base has disappeared. Their textile industry has gone to the Chinese. It's all falling apart. It has nothing to do with anything except their incompetence. Yeah, the Germans built, because the Germans weren't a class of victims. They wouldn't whine and sit and complain. They're industrious, hardworking people. The ANC are not industrious. They're not hardworking. They're leeches. They're parasites. They leech off of the productive. And whether the productive are white, black, or brown, it doesn't matter. They leech off of them. Don't have any updates on who got shot, but I do have an update on the shooter. All these sudden ANC press reports are just incite the people, ignore the truth, and rally them to take action against whites. Yeah, this is yet another step on the path, demonization of the minority towards the genocide that they keep claiming isn't happening. They're pushing towards a genocide. That's what they're pushing. Notice how they blame the DA because they say the DA is white, even though it's not. Notice how they blame whites. They blame the Solidarity Not for Reform. This is intentional. This is intentional. This is the rhetoric of communists and murderous thugs to incite a genocide. That's what this does. That's what these things are. That's demonization of a minority. Yep. They're upset about Kenny Cunene calling Julius Malema a cockroach. But they're basically calling whites, Indians, and coloreds cockroaches is basically what they're doing. When the Anglo-Boer was over, the Boers didn't hold hatred. They built a functional country. Well, that's a good example of what the Germans did. They're net consumers. They do not have the ability to produce. The ANC doesn't. I'm starting to understand why some have contemplated. Well, a lot have committed suicide, Theo, unfortunately, in South Africa. Yep. Good night, Brett. Most car guards speak French, not Afrikaans. Yeah, the mask has been removed. The communists are out in the open. Actually, at this point, the South African Communist Party is a better bet for you than the ANC. At least they're talking with some degree of rational. They make some sense. They make some sense. These clowns make no sense. Car guards. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yep. All right, so let me get to some of these news items. It's not a news program, but we've got some news here for you guys anyway, just the same. Where's it hiding at? That's not it. There it is. You want to know about Fort Stewart? The shooter, got the shooter's name. We're going to talk about that right now. First story we got right here. Army sergeant is in custody after 5 soldiers were shot at Fort Stewart. An active duty Army sergeant was taken into custody Wednesday on suspicion of opening fire at his workplace on the sprawling Fort Stewart base in Georgia, wounding 5 of his fellow soldiers. Suspect identified as Sergeant Cornelius Saramentrio Radford was subdued by nearby soldiers after he began shooting with a personal handgun, striking co-workers, according to Brigadier General John Lubis, Commanding General of 3rd Infantry Division. How is it Brigadier General the Commanding General? It takes a 2-star to command. Maybe he's about to be promoted. All 5 soldiers are in stable condition. Shooting is among at least 262 mass shootings in the U.S. so far this year. Oh, please. That's, of course, where they're going to go. He had a disagreement with one of the shooting victims on Tuesday. He followed that co-worker to a maintenance area and shot him in the chest before shooting 4 others. Other soldiers prevented further casualties by tackling him before police arrested him. Soldiers in the area that witnessed the shooting immediately and without hesitation tackled the soldier, subdued him. That allowed law enforcement to take him into custody. The suspect's father, Eddie Radford, told the New York Times that he hadn't noticed any unusual behavior in his son recently. He didn't know what might have motivated the shooting. He said his son had complained to the family about racism at Fort Stewart, and he'd been seeking a transfer, according to the Times, which is not, of course. That's what's going to come up. They're going to blame it on racism. This murderous thug. And by the way, that's not a soldier. This is his arrest photo. That's not a soldier. You can't have facial hair in the Army. And you can't have facial hair like this even with a shaving profile. This is not a soldier. This is what's wrong with the Army, allowing this garbage, allowing that facial hair. Soldiers with bumps can have a shaving profile, but your hair cannot be that long. You cannot have a mustache. There's no bumps from the mustache. This is bullshit. A native of Jacksonville, Florida, joined the Army in 2018 as a logistical specialist and was assigned to 2nd Brigade Combat Team. His role involved handling supplies, which, by the way, is where most minorities go, into the combat support fields, not into combat arms. Most of that work, the heavy lifting, is done by white Americans. Never talk about that. Radford had not deployed to a combat zone and had no known behavioral incidents in the military record. The general acknowledged that Radford had been arrested for driving under the influence in May. An arrest his chain of command was unaware of prior to the shooting. Now, how is that possible? Why didn't law enforcement share with the military and Department of Defense that he had been arrested? Because they surely knew he was in the military. That information should have been shared with the military. He would have already probably been discharged from the military for that activity or reduced in grade. He used a personal handgun, not a military weapon, a 9mm Glock that he bought in Florida in May. Unsure how he got through the base's high security. Well, very simple. No one checks your vehicles for guns. Normally, that's not it, unless there's something going on. At the gates, we have armed guards and protective equipment. We're going to have to determine how he's able to get a handgun to his place of duty. It's not very hard. Give me a break. The shooting was at suspect's place of work. Law enforcement was dispatched to the incident at 10:56, according to a social media post from Fort Stewart, Hunter Army Airfield. Less than 10 minutes later, the base was locked down. 11:09, emergency personnel were sent to treat the 5 soldiers who were shot. While all 5 soldiers in stable condition, 3 of them required surgery. He was apprehended 11:35. Since the shooting, he's been interviewed by CID and now sits in pretrial confinement as he awaits a charging decision. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks. Yep. Unbelievable. Except it is believable. Of course, the racism card comes out. Yeah, because if someone is mean to you, you're supposed to just grab a gun and shoot them. Is that the answer? Give me a break. I've been a victim of racism, state-sponsored racism, who held up promotions, denied promotions for majority soldiers, majority officers in our military over fraudulent claims that the promotion boards didn't promote enough minorities. It happened twice. Cost me thousands of dollars in time and grade, and made it to the point where I came close to getting to the point of not being around long enough to make full colonel. Because if you don't reach by a certain age, years in service, you don't get it. And twice that happened to me. I'm not the only one. Thousands of soldiers happened to. The racism, the official racism directed against us. It's unbelievable. Your sugar is 5.4. Isn't that kind of high? That's your A1C. I guess that's good. Not great, though. Liars are getting away with lies every day. Yep, because innocent people aren't talking up. Yeah, cats don't like thunder. Well, Theo Holmes, are you talking? What board leader? Are you talking about the AWB guy? They tried to claim it was something else. They tried to turn it into a homosexual thing. Remember that? Eugene Terreblanche, is that who you're talking about? He wasn't the board leader. He was the leader of the AWB. Yeah. Well, the scary thing is idiots like this are in uniform. But, you know, every cohort has bad people. When I was in Germany in the 1990s, we had a captain assigned to a unit in Hanau. I didn't know him. I didn't know the unit. But Hanau was the place where I was stationed at when I was a brigade S2. And he murdered his wife with a shotgun. And then said it was, you know, an accident. Because shotguns just go off lying around. What was he doing with a shotgun anyway? Anyway, so he murdered his wife. The trial was held in Hanau. We had a situation as the Cold War wound down up in Wilflicken. I think it was Wilflicken. Or not Wilflicken, up in that area on the inter-German border where a soldier, his pregnant wife was in hospital giving birth. He went out to the airfield. And I've been there. I've been to the phone booth where this happened at. He went out to the airfield looking for someone. He found the guy that was his wife's lover who had impregnated her. He was in one of those German yellow phone booths that stands all by itself in a cornfield outside the gate, so soldiers could walk out there and use it. There was nothing else around it, not even a bus stop. And he walked out there with a machete. And as the guy was on the phone, he attacked him in the phone booth and decapitated him. But there's no one there because it's outside the gate. No one noticed it. He took the head, the severed head, put it in a shopping bag, drove to the German hospital where she was in labor, walked into the hospital, pulled the head out by the hair, set it down on the bed next to her as she was giving birth, and said, "Here you go, bitch." Whoa. 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 That happened. That was crazy. Absolutely crazy. We had another situation where this guy, I'm trying to remember how the story went, in just east of Hanau, in what was only a bedroom community at that point because all the training facilities had been turned over, but the housing was kept so they could house soldiers. They just had to drive 45 minutes to go where they're going. A soldier was charged with the murder of a 2 or 3 year old, a 2-year-old, who somehow wandered out of bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and either into the hallway or this guy got into an apartment in an apartment building in government quarters. And this is not even where he was staying at. He'd only been in the country a few days. Brand new soldier, didn't know anything about Germany. Supposedly he went, found the toddler, took the toddler off, molested it, and murdered the toddler. And that trial took place. It was crazy. Yeah, it is nuts, Phoenix. I lived through that stuff, man. That was crazy. I wonder if I can find that. Let me see. Soldier decapitates wife's lover in Germany. There it is, Los Angeles Times. Soldier involved in love triangle loses his head. Okay. 1993. U.S. Army sergeant from the Baltimore area was arrested in Germany yesterday for allegedly cutting off the head of a soldier he suspected of having an affair with his wife. Sergeant Stephen Schapp, 26, allegedly placed the severed head in a plastic bag and presented it to his wife in the hospital room. It isn't alleged. It happened. The trial occurred in my community because we had a big judge advocate there. Both Schapp and the man who was killed were stationed in Germany. Schapp, who allegedly cut off the man's head with a machete, quietly submitted to arrest and was being held by U.S. authorities. Diane Schapp, 26, had entered the hospital a few days earlier in the early months of her pregnancy. Oh, I thought she was giving birth. She was in shock and was being cared for by American social workers and psychiatrists. The headless body of Specialist Gregory Glover of Phoenix, 21, was found at a telephone booth at Sickles Army Airfield in Fulda. Not Vilflick, in Fulda. Yep. Headless body. Glover and Schapp, both mechanics, were among 300 soldiers who worked at the airfield, part of a 1,200-member contingent of the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment. He'd been at the base for 2 years and Schapp for 3.5 years. Yeah. And then he was found guilty. Well, this is just a headline. Soldier guilty of beheading wife's lover's triangle. Yep. Yep. Hanau. This is where the trial took place. I was there. Oh, my goodness. Lenience sought in beheading case. All but one of the 7 jurors who found Sergeant Schapp guilty of beheading his wife's lover recommended that his mandatory sentence be reduced to no more than 30 years. Seriously? I remember this. It should be life. He murdered the guy with a machete. The recommendation from the jury in the U.S. military court will be submitted to Commander of the 5th Corps, Lieutenant General Jerry Rutherford. General Rutherford was briefly our division commander at the end of the Gulf War. Then he became a corps commander. He had his star rose very quickly. Went from being 1 star to 3 star in 9 months. Was he dead? I guess he died. Oh, he just died. No, he's not dead. He's still alive, yeah. Served in the Army in 1962. Yeah, General Rutherford. Third Army Division history. What's this? Doesn't say when it was written. Anyway. Yep, General Rutherford. Yep, Army Sergeant. Schapp's wife retraces the horror. Oh, come on. Stars and Stripes. Yeah, these are. I would have read this newspaper back then. Let me pull this. See if I can save this and bring it up. It's you got to pay for the site. I'm not paying for anything just to look at this damn article. So let me see. Yeah, folks. I mean, I've seen some crap. I've been around with some crazy stuff that's happened. Yeah, I'll never forget this. This was. I mean, I've talked about stuff like this, but I'll never forget it. Yep. This is March 31st, 1994. So here you go. This is the Stars and Stripes. That was it's still a military paper. It sucks now. It's all crappy wire services. There you go. Schapp's wife retraces horror. She quotes husband as saying, "I planned this, calculated this." Yet they gave him a 30-year sentence. So he's probably out of jail. Let's look and see. Diane Schapp wept Wednesday as she realized how her husband forced her to look at her lover's severed head. "Look, Diane, Glover's here. He'll sleep with you every night. Only you won't sleep at night," said Sergeant Schapp. That's what he said to her. I guess he didn't say bitch. Okay, or they covered that part up. Yep. So everybody has freaking wackadoodles and criminals in every cohort. Pretty scary stuff, huh? So let's look that guy up. I mean, he was given a 30-year sentence. Those 30 years are gone. He went to prison in 1993, 94. So let's see if this guy is out of prison or if he died in prison or what happened to him. Paste. His sentence was reduced in June of 1994. I'm trying to find something today. There's nothing. Give me what it is today. Says he was given life sentence but was reduced. Found guilty on April 2nd of the murder in December. And he was given 45 years, not 30 years. But that was changed and reduced later on. Yeah, he got 45 years, but that was reduced. So I don't know what's going on with that guy. Yeah. Crazy stuff, folks. Crime of passion, yeah. And so most of the jurors wanted to lower it. That's crazy. My barber in Gibraltar removed the head of a Royal Navy officer, Emmanuel Charles Nelson. It was a gay triangle. Gee, many crickets. Your barber? Oh, man. So that guy cut your hair. He had a knife cutting your beard. That's you're giving you shaving? That's pretty scary. Let's look up who that guy is. Let's look up who that guy is. I wonder if we can find something on him. Manuel Charles Nelson. Not finding him. Anyway. Crazy, huh? Crime of passion is right. Crime of passion. Crazy stuff. Yeah, people react differently to bad news. Yep. Oh, definitely a psychopath. Seriously, a white man calling people staying on the street hobo, and a black person official calling them the same. There's no difference. Hobo is not a derogatory term. Hobo is just a name for people who live on the streets. It's a nickname. It's not a derogatory term. Hey, Nikki. Oh, yeah, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot, Nikki. And the things I saw in my childhood. I mean, I don't talk about it a lot, but I've told this story a few times. When I was a little kid living in a housing complex, the same place where the black kid put the knife against my throat and threatened to kill me because I was a honky bastard. Before that happened, my friend Goody and I were out riding on our bikes. I got in a bike for Christmas. Didn't have handbrakes. You had to snap on the chain backwards, stomp it backwards, lock the wheel down. I was doing that, and we were having a little fun riding around the parking lot, and I hit it a little too hard, and I went flying over the handlebars and landed on my chin and skinned my chin on the pavement. Anyway, my father had a girlfriend, and went in the house, and she gave me some Diet Shasta. I'll never forget that. Diet Shasta. Oof. Shasta's a soft drink. I don't even know if they still make it. Anyway, but Diet Shasta was the most disgusting thing. Anyway, so I went and had stitches and that. So later on, sometime after that, before the racist incident where the knife with the switchblade was run across my throat, Goody and I were out running around our bikes again, And our apartment was in the basement. So the apartment building, up like this, you come in the front door and you can go up the stairs to the first floor, which are actually above the ground, or down, and that apartment is that there's apartments there. But on the back side, the other side of the apartment is flat. It's out. So I mean the ground is like higher here, the building, and then on the back side the ground is over here. Does that make sense? So you come down the stairs, go in the apartment. This side here is flat, and this side here, all you've got's a window that's at ground level. So anyway, came back and I heard this screaming in my name, Chris, help me, Chris, please, Chris, screaming my name. I must have been about 7 or 8 years old. I can't remember exactly. And I looked in the window, and Goody and I looked in, and we saw blood everywhere in the living room. It was a tile floor. There was blood all over the place. So we ran downstairs, and I tried to open the door, and it was locked. I couldn't get in. So I tried to push it and beat on the door and screaming, and Goody went to try to get some help. She tried to kill herself. But she didn't do it the way that a real suicide attempt would do it. She did it the way most people do it, side to side. And so she'd been bleeding for a while and then walking around and waving her arms around and flinging blood everywhere. So she tried to commit suicide and traumatized me as a 7-8-year-old kid, as if it was my fault. I had to help her. She wound up locked up in an insane asylum in Crownsville, Maryland. So I remember this because it was traumatic. Someone committing suicide and screaming, trying to commit suicide and screaming your name, a horrific thing for a child to experience. But the wild thing about it is that song Delta Dawn. Delta Dawn, what's that flower you have on? Could it be a faded rose from days gone by? Anyway, there's a line in there, and they say, folks around Crownsville say she's crazy. Well, Crownsville's in Maryland, and Delta Dawn's supposed to be crazy. So I'll never forget that because I associated with my father's girlfriend because she was crazy. And and she tried to off herself and traumatized me as a small child. That's the kind of crap I was dealing with. I haven't even talked about the stuff that me personally. That's just horrible stuff. So you want to talk about a book? You want to talk about a book? I can write some books. Next video will contain more details on what documents are needed for the program. That's already covered, Megan. And that's a refugee question. Those are for Sundays. But look, we're already, are you from the WhatsApp group with Shelley Hepburn, Megan? Just asking for a friend, because there are people from there who are coming over here intentionally trying to steal content. I'm not saying you are, trying to steal content so they can lie about what I say. We don't have a definitive list of what documents are available, but I have covered this. You generally need to have passport because the South African authorities won't let you out of the country without a passport. We have no control over that. You need a passport to enter the U.S. You can't be given travel documents if you're like a refugee from a war zone. That's an exception, but you're not, so you're going to have a passport. If you've been married, you're going to have a marriage certificate. If you've been divorced, you're going to have your divorce certificates. If you have children, you have to have their birth certificates. You have to have your birth certificates. And why do you need it? Well, as I said all along, and as those applying for refugee programs said, and as the State Department has confirmed to me, you need that to apply for permanent residency. And the USCIS website with the manual for immigration officers specifically says you need a birth certificate. Does that mean you can't come over if you don't have one? No. It's to apply for permanent residency and a green card and naturalization later on. Can you become a citizen without a birth certificate? Yes, there are exceptions to every rule. And I said that all along. But that Shelley Hepburn, the demonic crap weasel, is over there lying. And I've seen more screenshots of the garbage she's been spewing about me for months. That woman needs to, I don't want to deal with her. Anyway, so I hope that answers your question. I don't know why that's the question people would even, why would, what I don't understand is why people would even have to ask me that question. Just think through logically. You can't leave the country without a passport. The only one that you might have a question about is a birth certificate. But why would you leave a country without your birth certificate? It's kind of an important document. Did I answer your question? Who was that? Our daughter of 4 was diagnosed with diabetes. Insulin put her in a coma, and we spent next week and a half. Oh my gosh. That's insane. Is she okay now? No, I don't have high. Okay, I don't have high blood pressure. My blood pressure is like 128/68 resting. Great. Hey, Ray, how's it going? Dogzilla's back. Jackie Chan. Well done, Theo. Yeah, Marceline. Very dramatic. Hey, Estelle. Yeah, you walked on a friend. Yeah, it's crazy. Christian has dual citizenship. Yeah, I don't believe in the concept of dual citizenship. It's BS. Ask the soldiers serving the IDF. How does that dual citizenship going for them when they're meeting the obligations of their second country? You cannot owe fealty to 2 nations. It doesn't work that way. Sorry, guys. That hurts your feelings. People keep listening selectively. I had a horrible day also with attended. He read minutes of the conference call selectively. Now it's crisis rescue time. I don't know what you're talking about, Xavier. Richard Reeves, 120/80. The 80 is a little high, but it's pretty good. Not bad. 120/80. That's good. Well, I don't know why people cannot look up the email address. Is one of the mods here can do that? 261 people here at this hour this morning. Is that still okay? It's still live. Okay, 180 likes, folks. Hit that like button. Doesn't cost you anything but a moment of your time. Seriously, a moment of your time. Okay. Charlene Borger is leaving. Okay, Albie Borger is going to his new job. Just going to open the gates for him. Be careful out there, Charlene. Be careful when you go outside. All right. Be alert. Expect things. Okay. I don't know where you live, but it is South Africa. Daughter's doing really good now. So thank you, B.R. Alexander. I'm glad to hear that. But he put her in a coma. That's crazy. What kind of wackadoodle was that? James had a question. How do I miss some of these chats? It's crazy. I don't know what a parhas is. I don't know what that is. That a bad word? I don't know. I've never heard of that word before. Parhas. A hobo is not a bad word. It's not slander. Boxcar Willie was a hobo. Very famous musician. It's not a bad word. It's not an insult. Yeah, Nikki, I might have mentioned it before. Sorry if I bored you with that story, but not everybody's heard it. Well, if I haven't responded, Malcolm, that doesn't mean you sent it to the wrong address. I've got hundreds of thousands of emails I'm wading through. I don't see what James asked. Somebody answered a question for James. I didn't see it. Jack up. Good night. It's only 11 o'clock. What are you going to bed for? Come on, man. It's Minnesota. You know, you guys rock the night away, Minnesota. Come on, let's rock the Casbah together, Jack up. Hey, Rex is Uman and CB. Okay, Charlene always does. She lives on a farm. Okay, good. No, I wasn't stating I have many mails. Okay, see, this is the language. You're saying I have many messages. When you say I have many mails, I interpret that to mean many email accounts, which I do have. Gotcha. Is there no moderators here that can put the email address up? Charles, could you do that? Somebody? So I don't have to do that? Okay. Hey, Xavier. 787 Dreamliner. How's it going, man? Daybreak 1221. Dogbreaker. Wherever happened to him? I haven't seen him in a while. Definitely not boring. I wouldn't watch everything you produce, including live streams, if you were. Thank you. Oh, you've already put up. Thank you, Charles. I didn't see it. There, CB put it up. Thank you, guys. There it is. So Malcolm wants me. I know I've got something from a Malcolm, but I thought it was from Malcolm Clody. Where the hell's my mail at? Not there. Oh, I closed it. Okay, hang on. Let me look over here. Google Gmail. Malcolm, I have it. Oh, you do 2 songs about Fikile. I'm not going to play those without listening to them ahead of time because I don't know what you put up there. Yeah, you sent me 2 songs. Thank you. Okay. Do you own the songs? Have you paid for them? Is it your copyright so I don't get in trouble? Kathy Price sent me 2 here. One's Praktika Land, so our pretty land, our beautiful land. I thought she did one about me. Okay. People ask me if I've talked about this a lot. Okay, sorry. Okay, so yeah, lots of questions in there. No reason to have looked now. I made it on Suno. Well, Malcolm, I got so many that it might have slipped on me. And plus, you want the reassurance that it arrived. It arrived. You got the right email address. Any plans to visit South Africa again this year? Trudy, I don't know. We'll see. Always have plans, but I have other obligations. I'm off to England on the 17th. In 10 days, I'm headed to England for the Women's Rugby World Cup. I'll be broadcasting from England. Hobo is not offensive. No, it's not an offensive term. It's not. And for people who don't speak English that want to try to make it into an offensive term, you're not going to ruin the word like you did the K word. It's not an offensive word. It's not an offensive word. I'm an American. It's not an offensive word, calling somebody a hobo. Yep. And ho is not even related to hobo. That's a contraction of whore. That's what that is. That's the difference. So, and whore is not a dirty word either. It's the actual word. It's not a nice word to call somebody, but it's what it actually is. Yeah, it's not double standards. It's bigotry and racism, demonizing people and demonizing speech. The New Media Conference isn't happening, last I heard, Primal Bower, so I booked my flight without it. Last I heard, it was postponed because it was supposed to be like tomorrow, or Friday. Yeah, tomorrow. So no, I'm not going to be there for that. Last I heard, it's not going to happen. So they didn't give any updates. I saw no information about it being rescheduled or another location. So no, not unless it occurs while I'm there. Can somebody tell me it's going to happen while I'm there? Cool beans. Okay. Okay, yeah, but I don't see that cool beans. Let me go back and look for that real quick. Cool beans. I'll just punch that in there. Okay, there it is. August 5th. Okay. I want it down there to download. That's what I want. Is it downloading? I don't see it downloading. There it is. Okay. It's not just a dictionary, it's in academic papers all over South Africa and media reports.
Chris with a melody in his grip cupped our broken hearts in the palm of his hip. Cool beans, he'd say with a wink and a grin, then hum a new tune to mend every sin.
Sapphires and DJ Silver Eagles spun the tracks through the night. Melodies laced with hope, a spark in the dark.
We danced in the shadows, our fears took a backseat. His beats turned the chaos to a cool bean symphony. Cool beans, we're rising, every note's a lifeline, every riff's a promise, no room for the haters, just the brave and the bright. Colonel's got the soundtrack to our fight. Cool beans, we're alright, broken hearts, but the rhythm's so right. Dance like the sapphires, born in the sunbeam's rays. Colonel's got the magic to erase the blaze.
Kathy, it started a little slow for me, but it's gotten better and better.
Let's keep the tiny light still burning in the distance. Our country, South Africa, is broken.
The sapphires are in mourning.
There is great cheer for the stars and stripes as Colonel Chris takes the light. Let's wrap it up. What you say?
South Africa in Zanzibar.
Cool beans, we're rising, every note's a lifeline, every riff's a promise, no room for the haters, just the brave and the bright. Colonel's got the soundtrack to our fight. Cool beans, we're alright, broken hearts, but the rhythm's so right. Dance like the sapphires, born in the sunbeam's rays. Colonel's got the magic to erase the braid.
Yes, the phrase pink pigs directed at white people is a racist insult.
So when the night fades and the speakers go still, we hum Colonel's tune as cool beans our will.
DJs and sapphire dreamers, the brave and the mean.
His songs are the compass that guides us through.
Some sulky here, man. Look, cowfoot sulky. Get yourself some blisters on this feet, cowfoot sulky. James is getting out of the hospital. That's good news.
It's a promise, no room for the haters, just the brave and the bright. Colonel's got the soundtrack to our fight. Cool beans, we're alright. Broken hearts, but the rhythm's so right.
I have that line dance, and my hip won't cooperate.
Born in the sunbeams rays. Colonel's got the magic to erase the blade. Colonel's got the magic to erase the blade.
So earlier this evening, I had to log in because the Veterans Administration changed some sites. I found an email while I was going through those hundreds of thousands of emails that told me that I was going to lose access to my medical records with the VA. And I clicked on it, and they had changed the site, so I still have access to it. I logged in, and I looked at my disability rating, and I was actually giving a rating for this hip that's bothering me, that's causing me all this agony. They give you a percentage based on what harm it does to you. I was given a rating of 0%. Because they didn't diagnose it properly. It's not arthritis, which is what they said it was. It's not arthritis. So once this gets a little further down, I'm going to go back and ask them to relook at that and see if they will pay me the correct amount that they owe me for the past 5 years of suffering with this pain. Yep. Yep. Oh, yeah, no. I can barely walk now, and this is a result of a condition that happened in 1985 in an accident when I was in the Army, and they never treated it, and I went and saw them. It's in my records, and because I had range of motion at the time when they did the examination in 2019, they gave me a 0% rating for it, 0%. And for the neuropathy in my feet, which is a consequence of military service, I got no rating. So that's the most debilitating thing. Right now, my feet are killing me. Yep. Yep. Well, I think it's my hip. I don't know. Okay. That is wrong. What's the end game for South Africa? It's the complete burning down of South Africa. That's what the ANC's mission is, to destroy South Africa. Yep, that's the bottom line. So I played the music and we lost people. So it always happens. People don't want to be here for the music, which is funny. A lot of people love music. Other people just don't. So you never know. All right, so I did a video earlier talking about a Russian ship, and this is the Russian ship right here. That's the one. It's docked at Simonstown. It's a training ship. It has 300 naval cadets on it, a crew of 120 and 30 naval instructors. That ship was built in the 1970s in what used to be Germany, but it was stolen from them by Roosevelt and Churchill and given to Poland at the end of the war. Stettin is the city. So yeah, that's a Russian naval ship. And that ship was, the sailors were not allowed to disembark. I did a short video on it earlier tonight when I didn't have enough information. Shortly after that, I got confirmation of what happened. The sailors don't have passports. They just have their ID cards. And normally you would be allowed to disembark, but Home Affairs is being jackasses and wouldn't let them in the country. So 300 sailors with money in their pocket to burn, to spend in restaurants, at tourist stands, to go up to Table Mountain, to pay for prostitutes, to buy booze, to do things and spend money for local economy. They did the same thing to an American ship 6 weeks ago or something like that, maybe 6 months ago. And the estimate was that they lost $20 million in revenue to the local economy because those soldiers or the sailors were not allowed to disembark in Cape Town. It also leaves a very poor impression of South Africa in the minds of those who come to South Africa on naval ships. They travel all around the world. They're at sea for a long time, a chance to go ashore, and useless South African authorities deny them the opportunity to come in. Yep. Some can't afford it financially to be here to listen to music. I don't know why they can't afford it unless they're paying for airtime with scratch cards. Probably wanted money the Russians didn't want to pay. Notice Your Live is a good place to get people's reactions to new artists. Who's Tylo? I know who Tyla is, but I can't play someone's song unless I have their permission. The Brybrookey song I was able to play because it wasn't copyright protected initially, but I can't play it anymore. No, I try to promote musical artists, but a lot of them aren't interested in it because they're all labels, and labels don't let them do things. Anyway, that Russian ship is the Smolny. Smolny is the ship, and it's there, and they can't get off the boat. Everybody has prostitutes, Charles. Don't kid yourself. ANC cannot have South Africa. No one can, so they're going to be selfish and destroy it. Sloth puppy? Spot on. Yep. They actually think that they liberated South Africa. See, this is the thing. In their feeble minds, the African National Congress thinks that they're responsible for the end of apartheid. They're not. They think they liberated South Africans. They didn't. No. I don't know how many ships are sailing, Charles, but that one definitely is. Yep. Yep. Everybody's got prostitutes. Male and female. All right, so Fikile is blaming the DA. Mbalula blames DA for Trump's tariffs and U.S. threats to sanction ANC leaders. We will never back imperialists who subvert our democracy. Oh, my goodness. I talked about this earlier. What a clown. If the U.S. wants to sanction us, they can bring them. Yeah. That ain't going to happen. Russian sailors probably wouldn't pay the bribe. Yep. Well, far too many, not just blacks. I mean, the likes of Dan Corder and Bianca van Wyk and Adrien Basson and a whole bunch of other white South Africans seem to think the ANC liberated the country. They didn't. Hey, Willem, what's going on, man? Yes, that's what she's doing. She's a wackadoodle, man. At some point, it would be nice if some of the refugees got together and you know, put something out, a release from them, and said, hey, this woman is a wackadoodle, and she's lying about the colonel. Anyway, Willem, I don't know if did you send me a response what we were talking about? Let me see. Which account is that? Okay, that's on the new one. You sent me a voicemail. I don't remember. I think you said you were willing to do it. Just an update, folks. I've been back in touch with Thea. I played that short video. She's been in touch with me. I facilitated another interview for her with the press, but I am actually hosting a Zoom session like I did for the New York Times when they interviewed her. So the Daily Maverick will be interviewing her for an article. So hopefully that goes well. I've also put them in touch with Earl and some others who are interested. So Reuters also wants to talk to people. But anyway, so. Do you even listen to hip hop? Are you crazy? Are you high, Google? Do you pay attention? This is the troll again. Leave him there. Let him be there. He didn't say anything rude. Just asking dumb questions. But that's your only warning for all caps. Your only warning for all caps. You've been here trolling enough, Google. You know that no one may. I don't know. Maybe you can join us tomorrow, Thursday evening. Then I'll send you a note. Yeah, she's a wackadoodle, and the fact that anybody takes her seriously, that group should have dwindled away to nothing. There should be nobody in that group and just not listening to her. It's obvious that it's just lies. Yes. So isn't it interesting that Google it comes in with all caps, looking to be spanked, and then cry about it, knowing that we don't allow all caps because it's disrespectful and rude. Do I even listen to hip hop? Are you a dingbat doorknob? Good Lord. I mean, half the songs I made initially were all hip hop. I swear. People are ridiculous. Reggae. Well, what does it matter whether I listen to hip hop or not? I listen to everything. Crazy people. So anyway. Oh boy. Unfortunately, the hip hop doesn't work very well here. So here's the right move.
Yeah. Your body really don't know. And this is a race when I failed me. I got going. Stealth in the night with the shadows sway. No words spoken, just the planes on display. Knocking out the power where danger lay. Hope's lit flame keeps the dark at bay. In the silence moves like a ghost. Choices we make ripple coast to coast. Bridges built from ashes, no time to boast. Peace finds a way when it matters the most. They saw the storm but never the rain. The The skies were quiet yet broke the chain. Tensions crumbled like a fortress in vain. The cost was steep, but there's peace to gain. Boom in the silence, moves like a ghost. Choices we make ripple coast to coast. Bridges built from ashes, no time to boast. Peace finds a way when it matters the most. A hand unseen rewrote the game. From chaos to calm, a shift untamed. Lines redrawn where fire once claimed. Now a new world emerges, unframed. Boom in the silence, moves like a ghost. Choices we make, ripple coast to coast. Bridges built from ashes, no time to boast. Peace finds a way when it matters the most. When it matters the most.
See, the haters try to come in my program, and they don't know who they're dealing with here. They just make idiotic, racist assumptions because of my skin pigmentation. They don't know jack shit about me. They don't know about how I grew up in black neighborhoods. They don't know anything about me or how 640,000 people are alive because of me. So, boom! There's your hip-hop smartass. Hit the road. Why don't you go dance with Shelly? She's another hater. You didn't like that hip-hop song? Let's go with another one. Let's go with another hip-hop song. How about Ramaphosa's Gambit?
Influence, move with a practice grin.
Oh, yeah.
Shaking hands when the lights are dim. The White House walls heard its claim to fame, but the shadows whispered a different name. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Pretending blind to the cries at home, while the streets of SA ache and moan. Right, the man with the golden hue, but the deal fell flat and the lies broke through. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Behind closed doors, the mask came off. No suits, no ties, just shadows aloft. The past screams loud from the buried ground. Now the silence breaks with a deafening sound. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. The horrors rise from a nation torn. Whispers turn to cries of scorn. History's weight won't stay concealed. Every wound must one day heal. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You pay.
Well, for the haters, as always, they don't know who they're dealing with here. They just try it. They just try it. They just try it. All right, you were warned. Okay. Your text has been removed, Google R. Next time you get a timeout, you apparently can't follow instructions. No capital letters in the chat. You cannot use all caps. You cannot use all caps. That was very generous of me. The first one was trolling. You should have been removed. I did remove you. Oh, okay, there you go. All right, well, I told you. So put user in timeout. 10 minutes. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Google R. Bye-bye. 10 minutes. If you're still here in 10 minutes, you can chat again. You're going to be a jackass. You can be a jackass. So, yeah. No, the haters always try their nonsense. They have no idea who I am, no idea where I've been, no idea what I've done. Everything's distilled down to the 3 seconds they hear, and it forms their worldview, their bigotry, their racism, their stupidity. It's comical. It's comical, to say the least. So I interviewed a senior politician a few months back, and that senior politician responded positively to my interview. But when I talked to that politician before we did the interview on air, that politician told me that initially they weren't going to do the interview. I said, why? Well, because I was told you're a racist. I said, who told you that? And they said, well, it's not important. I said, it is important. Who told you that nonsense? And they said, what's important is that I didn't listen to the nonsense. I went and looked at your content, and I could see that obviously you're not a racist. You promote all people, black, white, and brown, in all languages and all faiths. And obviously that those people, the person that told me that has an axe to grind with you, and I no longer listen to them. I said, well, good on you. Good on you. Yep. Good on you. I just cautioned people, was it last night before, who were trending a little bit in the dog whistle racist comments about black folks and generalizing. And then, of course, I had a bunch of black supremacists attack me. Let me see if I can find some of these comments here. I saved these screen captures. Actually, I think I sent them in my mail, but I don't know where I'm going to find it. It'd be easier to find on my phone. And I'll read to you some of the nonsense that came up on my video that I did about, was it Fikile? I think is the one I did on. So, I don't want recents. That takes forever. I want screenshots. That's what I want. Okay, screenshots. Okay. He is telling the truth. The black pastor from America came early this year. He said straight that South Africa must leave BRICS, and you complain about China is busy making deals while America is making threats, and those tariffs are going to be paid by you, America's declining empire. Everybody knows it's not a secret, and if BRICS was dead, why Trump talking about it? You come lecture us while your country is committing genocide. I never hear you talking about it. There you are talking nonsense about our country. F America. We won't bow to America. The never helped during apartheid. Instead, they were funding the apartheid government. Losing America, it's not the end. Actually, yeah, you know, you can have cognitive dissonance, but the U.S. did help end apartheid. Bunch of boneheads. So this guy says, what's wrong with this charlatan? Are you done scamming the refugees and now are a commentator on our domestic affairs? What is it that interests you in South Africa? Are you trying to build a like-minded group of people in South Africa? What's your agenda? This is not Europe. This is Africa. I hope you understand that. Well, there's a racist right there. That's Black Dynasty Turn is 658. You're just spewing racial hatred there. I'm not from Europe, dumbass. And Africa is full of white people and Arabs and pygmies and Khoi and San and Asians. I said, you should be more careful with your dog whistle race hustling. Such activity is subject to legal consequences. I said, done with refugee and now coming for things on politics. I said, could you twits be any lazier or dumber? Did your dim-witted obsession not teach you the joys of search engines? Okay, that's that one. And then this guy wrote in a South African language, a Bantu language. He called me a racist. You yourself, you're not trusted. A few days ago, I commented something innocently, then boom, you started swearing at me. Non-Loth-Nondi is a bullshitter and a lying sack of horse shit. This person never commented on any of my videos. I've never seen that person before. See, this is what they do. They come on here and they lie, and people are gullible. Oh, this guy cut me off. He never let me talk. I don't even know who the hell this is. And I said, laughing out loud, do you have an attorney? You'll need one if you keep making criminal injurious comments like that. You've left yourself open to criminal charges. Anyway. Yeah, the racists are unbelievable. So I had white racists, well, not white racists, but people trending close to that. Then I got black racists, you know. They can't handle the truth, Madeline. You're right. Yeah, this is the thrashings of a wounded beast. This is a wounded. I won't call them lions because lions are regal. This is a wounded hyena. These are wounded hyenas, and they've been mauled, and now they can't get away, so they're just thrashing at anything they can. That's what they are. The ANC and these black supremacists are wounded hyenas because the truth about their bigotry, their racism, their destruction of South Africa is for the world to see finally. I didn't know he called them losers last night. Well, he's a troll. So if he comes back and he misbehaves, he'll be just removed from the channel. And then he can create a new account, waste his time, and then get deleted on that one. Yes, Google got Rasul for 10 minutes. Yaku Basson, I covered the with a short the MK constitutional amendment. Nikki says she found this channel in February during a very dark time in her life. Colonel Ronaldo kept me sane. How does Ronaldo keep you sane? That just doesn't make any sense. That doesn't pass the smell test, I'm saying. Everybody wants to be the most important person, steal the spotlight, but yeah, stupid people. Well, Primal Boar, I get what you're saying, and I agree there's a lot of that going on, and I think you're talking about this lunatic woman that's over there slandering me. But what I will say about me is that, and for the OGs are here, I know Dylan's here, and Charles is here, and I don't think Hendo's here, but there's Charles. There are a number of OGs that have been here for a long time. Guys, have I changed? Am I different than, well, other than my tolerance of trolls is greatly diminished over the number of years, but that's been building up. It's not an instant thing. But am I not the same person who came on here, sat on his laptop with a map propped up on a board behind me from National Geographic, trying to broadcast in 2020? Am I not the same person? Do I not have the same values? Do I not treat people just fairly and try to help as many people as I can? I'm the same person. And I only had an audience on a live stream. This would be a huge audience for me in December. In December, 235 people coming to live stream at this time in South Africa. It's 6:30 in the morning. But even I did this at 6 o'clock in the evening. This would be a huge audience for me. I was thrilled to get 100 plus people on a stream. It was exciting. And I interact with most people in the chat. And that's who I was. That's who I did. I try to interact with people now, but there's more chat and it's a little more challenging. But I haven't changed, and I had no illusions that this was ever going to be anything big. And I realized that I won't have the influence that I need to have unless I have a couple 100,000 or more subscribers, which seems to be a long way off. But in the meantime, we just keep building, we keep working, we keep sharing, we keep revealing, we keep telling people about stuff. Yep, that's correct, Alley Cat. The ANC's biggest threat is within their ranks. Zuma and MK, Radical Economic Transformation, have left the ANC. There's still some of them there. EFF left a long time ago. We had COPE leave, but they've dwindled away to nothing and joined other parties for the most part at this point. And now the South African Communist Party's left them. COSATU threatened to leave them a few years ago when Zuma was there. So yeah, the ANC's biggest threat is from within. That's why they're marginalizing Paul Mashatile now. I'm horrified by the thought of Lamola and Mbalula having an intellectual debate with each other. Intellectual? That would be interesting. Yes, the reason they got rid of the commando systems is because in their little minds, their pea brains, they thought the commando system was a threat to black South Africans. No, it wasn't. It was actually a source of security for black South Africans, but they're too stupid to see that. They equate the commandos incorrectly with the liberation struggle because they weren't in it. Almost none of the people who make these decisions were in the liberation struggle. They were privileged little snots, or people not going to school and becoming functionally illiterate because they refused to go to school because Afrikaans was being taught. Yep. Will the Southern Communist Party? The South African Communist Party, okay, Krista Fanard, it's a good question. First off, there's about 50,000 people in the South African Communist Party, which makes it one of the bigger ones in the world. Most people won't, until recently, wouldn't call themselves communists. And even the socialists in America, like the radical Islamist, fanatic, fascist, socialist, communist known as Zoolander, Zoran Mamdani in New York, won't let him. He doesn't want to be called a communist, but he is. So most people don't want to be called a communist. But in South Africa, there's 50,000 members in the South African Communist Party, roughly. I don't think it's really that many. It's probably about 30,000, but they claim 50,000. So we'll go with that. 50,000. Every single member of the NEC, every single senior member of the ANC is a card-carrying member of the South African Communist Party, and proud of it. They're openly communist, and they've always been openly communist. It's just that they had no real influence. No real influence. Blade Nsimande is a clueless wonder, and he was given influence, and he's nothing. So the South African Communist Party is nothing. Now, that doesn't mean it can't become something when it breaks away, but this was coming for a long time. They've never, they're a political party, but they never run for an election. So they're not really a political party. They're just a stupid movement. A movement for what? To instill or impose communism on South Africa? Well, you don't need to exist. The ANC's doing that. So does that help explain things, Kristen? Yeah, made Tupac envious, yeah. Well, the 10 minutes are up. Is Google still here? Can I compare with before? But I love how you are and your attitude. Love watching content. The news got a lot of refugee info now. Is only a repeat for those late to the party. Yep. Thought we were such good buddies with Russia. Well, yeah. Your level of tolerance has taught me a lot. I can now do dumb that little bit longer. Yeah, you can tolerate stupidity a little bit longer. Well, and you'll notice in the video, now I say Cape Town Harbor because that's what the tweet said, but they were in Simonstown. I verified that. I mean, the photograph of the ship, it doesn't match Cape Town. You wouldn't have mountains behind it with the pier coming out. Coming out from, if you're sitting in Cape Town Harbor and you're out there docked where the container ships are, there's no mountains behind you. There's mountains over here, a ridge line that runs off, but you can't really see it from that angle. You see the flatlands that go up to Blauberg Strand. You see Woodbridge. You see that area there, Milnerton, Woodbridge, and that's what you see. There's no mountains there. So there's a mountain that appears. That's because that mountain is where they docked in Simonstown. It's behind them on the hill. So anyway, so it was suspicious, but it was a true report, and I confirmed with some sources in Cape Town that, in fact, that's what happened. So in the video, which I lacked information, I said that this is probably an administrative thing. I don't think it has anything to do with politics. If it does, it'll be huge news, which I doubt is the case. And that's what it appears to be. It appears to have turned out that they didn't have passports because they're just recruits or cadets. They probably wouldn't have passports. They don't need it. Most countries allow the soldiers to come ashore with their ID cards, and that's sufficient. But the South African Home Affairs decided not to do that. So apparently they're not the only ones. They've done this to several foreign militaries who've tried to dock in Simonstown recently, and it's costing the local economy a buttload of money. Stupid decisions. Sloth Puppy says the colonel's been consistent and true. Yep. Yes, Alley Cat the Beard got a lot smaller. People thought I was a hobo. Maddie thought she was being ignored. Who said you're being ignored? Always hid behind the ANC because they did not think the Italian people could handle their ideology. Yep. Krista understands. Okay, cool, Krista. Many ANC were formers handled by security. Yeah, there's claims that I have no evidence of it, but it makes sense. ANC has always been communist. I'm 52 and can't remember the day in the South that wasn't struggling somewhere or another from that rubbish. Yep. Quite a cunning name to hide behind. Yep. Fikile needs to release his member. Indeed. Lion's Head is to the side of the harbor. That looks like Simonstown. Agreed. Yes, I know, Charles, but you won't see. Okay, no, but you're not going to see it, Charles. In order to see Lion's Head to the side, you would have to be docked and sitting in the water and see the ship from behind. Then you wouldn't see the gangway that went out to the ship. It's impossible. It would, unless it's a transposed picture. It's impossible. But that wasn't Lion's Head. That was Simonstown. Yeah, I agree with you, the God King. Anyway, vote if the ANC is an accomplice. No, it's not a union. It's a communist party. It's a political party. Who gave a big tip? I know it was Maddie. I'm just letting you know I read your comment. Becky Harvett says, thank you for your concern and everyone here in our country still votes ANC. EMK, I feel sorry for you. You wake up and you're very busy seeing our... No, I am very busy, and I take a lot of abuse for it. You heard some of the racist drivel that these people come up, but they're just stupid people. I mean, you know, there's no accounting for stupid people. Herman Ruiz, there's my favorite tobacco farmer. Herman, you still growing tobacco, man? You got some of that. By the way, he doesn't grow wacky weed. He just grows tobacco and many other things. Great host, by the way. Wonderful person. My last time seeing him was actually in Centurion, I think it was. Yeah. We met at a place where he was at a conference, not on his farm, because there just wasn't time. And I didn't see him the last trip. Yep. Stupidity is too much. I have learned to bite my tongue, but like yesterday, I could not keep quiet and lost at one of my other groups with a stupid person. Sue Marie. It isn't easy. Sometimes I lose my temper because people really push it. Sometimes people really, really push it. Wow, that's the first super chat. Thank you, Herman. Wow, it's been salty cracks tonight. I didn't realize that. See, that's not in it for the glory, not in it for the fame, certainly not in it for the super chats. Okay. Good morning. You have to come and have some proper beef here on the farm again. Forrest Gump said it best. Stupid as stupid does. Indeed. Life's like a box of chocolates. Yep. I worry about Herman and his family. They're lovely people. I worry about him and I worry about his workers. I do. But they're not the only farmers I worry about. I have friends in Northwest, out towards Zaros, whom I know that I worry about. and in Clarence, and in KZN. Lots of people I worry about. It's a dangerous place, and it's because the government doesn't care. The government doesn't care. Yep, so what are we up to? Let me take a look and reload this. I think it hasn't changed today. 1,029 monthly listeners on DJ Silver Eagle. We haven't made a song yet tonight. We haven't made a song. Is it time to make a song, folks? We're in an hour and 40 minutes. Maybe we should make a song. I want to make one for Fikile, but it's not going to work with the we'll do one about sanctions. How's that? Okay, I've done sanctions before, but let's do something kind of upbeat. Let's see. Where's my music at? Here we go. All right, we're going to go to create. All right, they're not going to get me this time with the auto lyrics. Aha, there we go. Got it. Call it... I'll go with an Afro beat. Let's see how it comes up, okay? Try something different here. It's imperialist. Let's see how it goes. All right, make sure I got it right. Let's see how this goes. I got a feeling this one's not going to go well. All right, I haven't done a song tonight, so now we're creating a song. Lots of hobos. Colonel, you have to rest and hope you had something to eat. I did eat earlier. What happened to Herman? There was a farm attack last night close to our farm. I was not at the scene, but I will get more. Okay, thank you, Herman. I hope they're okay. See, you see why I worry about them? By the way, I stay on that farm, so when I'm in South Africa, you can worry about me too. It's the people that care the least about the spotlight that attracts the most people and gets the spotlight. Maybe, Phoenix, maybe. Boy, this is taking a long time to make this song. It doesn't usually take this long. Maybe they're going to reject it. I've had a song rejected because they didn't like the words. Anyway, so it's taking a long time. I prayed, but I'm still not sharing. Lead pills for stupid, huh? Crimea River. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but the problem is using the Fikile stuff. It ain't working, man. What's going on here? It charged me the credits, and it's still not there. Wow. Let me make sure I still have a connection. Yeah, I have a connection. I have a fast connection, so it's not that. Looks like my account is acting up. I've never had this happen before. Yeah, Crimea River, but that's taken by someone, so you can't really use that. Come on. Huh. Okay, that's weird. It's not creating my songs. Let me see if I open up another window. Maybe it's been created. I'm just not seeing it. No, it's just still creating them. That's weird. That's never happened before. Clip got stuck while generating. So did it take my credits? I'll try it again. Yep, it took my credits a second time. Bastards. Sanctions state of mind. Okay, it's working this time, but I got double charge for it. Okay. Dogzilla, people want to listen to your trolling tonight. Let's see how this goes. I hope it's good.
The dust rolls heavy down a broken street. Promises scatter like the chaff and wheat. The sun burns hotter on this land we claim, but the ground is cracking beneath the name. Bring on the sanctions, let the fire rage. We're dancing wild on a shrinking stage. We won't bow down, no, we won't concede. But who's gonna plan what the people need? Feels like barren, the wells run dry. A child asks why, but there's no reply. Leaders speak bold with their heads held high, while the echoes of hunger don't lie. Bring on the sanctions, let the fire rage. We're dancing wild on a shrinking stage.
Yeah, lucky Dube, huh?
We won't bow down, no, we won't concede. But who's gonna plan what the people need? Roots sec, they cry to the winds of change, clutching power like it's their last exchange. But the roots grow thin, the fruit turns sour, and time's a thief in the midnight. Flags still wave, but they're tattered and torn. A nation waits for a brighter morn. The dream we chase now feels far away, as the cracks grow deeper every day.
This is good. All right, that's version 1. Sanctions, State of Mind, Afrobeat tune. Here's the second one.
The dust rolls heavy down a broken street.
I like this.
Promises scatter like the chaff and wheat. The sunburns hotter on this land we claim, but the ground is cracking beneath the name. Bring on the sanctions, let the fire rage. We're dancing wild on a shrinking stage. We won't bow down, no, we won't concede. But who's gonna plan what the people need?
First one's better. Yeah, first one's better. Okay, I like the first one better. Sanction, State of Mind. Okay, there we go. So, cool. Save image. Okay, cool. I'm going to download that one and load that up. I like that one. Sanction, State of Mind. Tonight, one of my songs played on the radio. My radio show in New Hampshire, but I sent it over to my co-host and he played it. It's pretty good. So this is from last night. This is Pala Pala Nights. I love this one.
Money stuffed in my sofa, a treasure untold. Shira's got a game ranch, stories unfold. Pala Pala, ritzy joint, Orange cushions hide a rainy day. Pala pala, where the secrets play. Under the cushions, the cash will stay. Pala pala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day. Hey. Antelope run where the moonlight beams. Luxury whispers in velvet dreams. Sarah laughs, but nothing's as it seems. Game of chance or a clever scheme. Hidden fortune stitched in the seam. You'll never know till you're caught in the stream. Pala pala, where the secrets play. Under the cushions, the cash will stay. Pala pala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day. Hey. Pala pala, where the secrets play. Under the cushions, the cash will stay. Pala pala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day. Hey.
Pala Pala Nights, folks, and this one was for me because I'm dealing with all that email. This is the email avalanche.
Inbox screaming, it's a digital riot. Plumos and scams, they just won't be quiet. A prince in exile wants to share his throne. I just want coffee and to be left alone. Delete, delete, they keep on spawning. Reply, reply, it's never ending. Email avalanche crashing down on me. Buried alive in the spam debris. I never asked for your restless leg relief or a new roof deal, I just want some peace. A coupon war and a flash sale battle. My mind's the herd they're trying to cattle. Congrats, you won, I never entered. Every subject line feels off-centered. Scroll, scroll, my fingers are aching. Stop, stop, my patience is breaking. Email avalanche crashing down on me. Buried alive in the spam debris. I never asked for your late night munchies or freeway lost pills, it's a spam junk spree.
It's an email avalanche. That's what I'm suffering under, an email avalanche.
Email avalanche crashing down on me. Buried alive in this spam debris. I never asked for your restless leg relief or a new roof deal, I just want some peace. I just want some peace.
Email avalanche on Afterlife Radio, coming to you from the other side, literally, the other side of the Atlantic. Folks, Richard Reeves says Mexicans work. Well, thank you for that insightful comment. So do Guatemalans, Icelanders, Germans, Russians, Kyrgyz, Mandarin Chinese, Cantonese. Lots of people work, my friend, and they're welcome to work in China, in Iceland, in Mexico, in Kyrgyzstan. Yes, if they come to our border and present their credentials, their bona fides, and ask politely to come into our country, then they're welcome to visit. If they want to come here and work for a job they've been offered and they meet the standards, they're welcome. But if they're criminal alien invaders, they can get the hell out and hit the road, Jack. Speaking of people who've come here, who've been invited here, those people known as refugees are our Safas, our South Africans. And here's a rock anthem dedicated to them from last night.
Sunburned plains behind, dreams packed tight in a restless mind. Shadows chase them through the night, but here they found a brighter place, a land that holds a wide embrace. Our Safas, our dreamers, our team, building futures, stitching the seams. No longer lost, no need to flee. Here's to the hope, here's to the free. Here's to the free. They speak in rhythms, a different tune, a blend of voices under one moon. New roots grow where old ones were torn. The past still whispers a distant call, but here they rise, they stand tall. Our Safas, our dreamers, our team, building futures, stitching the seams. No longer lost, no need to flee. Here's to the hope, here's to the free. Here's to the free. Here's to the free. Our Safas, our dreamers, our team, building futures, stitching the seams. No longer lost, no need to flee. Here's to the hope, here's to the free. Here's to the free. Here's to the free. Here's to the free.
And dedication to our South Africans, our Safas who've made it over here to the U.S. under the Refugee Resettlement Program. Welcome to them. Listen, Primal Boar, you're tilting against windmills. Dogzilla is trolling. 51 former intelligence senior executives, heads of CIA, NSA, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, former directors of national intelligence, fraudulently claim that the laptop from Hunter Biden was Russian disinformation, knowing full well they committed fraud. Lots of economists commit fraud every day. They lie. The chairman of the Federal Reserve is committing fraud against the American people by keeping our interest rates artificially high, despite the fact that inflation is almost zero, despite the fact the economy is growing at a slow but steady pace, despite the fact that this country is doing remarkably well, jobs being added. He is crippling this economy by keeping the ability for people to buy homes, which drives automobile purchases, and homes are what drive the consumer economy. If people aren't buying homes, if they aren't buying cars, then economies stagnate, generally speaking. Consumer spending can only do so much, even though it makes up 2/3, those hard goods. Every house that's built requires a refrigerator and a washer and dryer and a heating system and electrical connections. All of that has to go in every house. And every time someone moves into a house, unless they're coming from an existing house, which is often the case, they're going to buy new televisions and new telephones and new furniture. And all of that drives an economy based on loans, based on capital, based on employment. That is the lifeblood of an economy. An economist can get it wrong. They got it wrong. The economists said we were in a recession. We're not in a recession. It's factually untrue. They lied about that. Economists said we weren't in a recession when we were under Biden. We were in a recession. Economists said that inflation was 2% when it was 12%. But the government admitted it was 9% one year, 9.7%. So he's just trolling. It doesn't matter what economists say because they get it wrong all the time. Just like currency traders. They often lose their ass because they get it wrong. Stock, that's why I have never in my life had a paid stock account where I pay someone for advice. If I have success in investing, it's my success or my good fortune or both. I research what I invest in and I make the decisions myself. I make the decisions when to sell those things myself. No one else. I cannot turn and go, it was my investment advisor's fault. He misled me. No, it's all on me. I don't pay people. I just pay the minimum charge for executing the trade. That's it. That's it. That's all I do. And that's how I handle things. I don't listen to these people. They're wrong all the time. My record is demonstrably better and more correct than most of these so-called economic genius. I have some background in economics, but I'm not an economist. I taught macroeconomics. So, anyway, you can believe what you want. Richard Reeves, what's with the Union Jack? Apparently that's a hate symbol and will put you in jail for 1 year if you're 19 years old standing on a street corner in the UK. It's a shame. Apparently showing the Union Jack in the UK is a criminal offense, according to corrupt woke judges. It's raining hot, okay? Yes, entitled people who illegally enter a country think they're special. Kus Weistra, appreciate all the work. You're welcome. Happy Slappy. Thank you, Chris. And the last message I send you is out of appreciation. We love your support and passion. You're welcome. Some prices are going down here. Yeah, they are. I told you guys. See, that's anecdotal. I already told you. The microphones, I use the little attached ones, the Bluetooth. Those bad boys, I paid $37.99 through Amazon in April before I went to South Africa, and I used that in South Africa, and not so often, but I've used it here in the States. Those microphones, which are fantastic, by the way, made in China, of course, are now $19 on Amazon. They've gone down almost half in price, despite tariffs. Not looking forward to taking the rubbish out, okay? Yaku, there's a notion in South Africa you don't need to work. You should just get paid because you're a victim. As if any people in the previous dispensation just got paid for not doing anything. That's what happens when people get accustomed to it. Axel Rose. Wait, Axel Rose just subscribed. Wow, cool, man. Sing us a song, Axel. Richard Reeves is loving his Union Jack. And Leslie put up U.S. flags. Okay. Sounds like Nickelback. Yeah, it does kind of, I guess. Okay. Dogzilla does have a point. The tariffs won't have any impact on your life being better here. That has nothing to do with the tariffs. R300 enforcement agencies. Between Jake Garwal Drive and, I don't know, Berman Drive. I know Jake's Garwal, but I don't know AZ. Rain shower, okay. So I'm going to find work for almost a year now. I'm sorry to hear that, Eugene. Right, people had to work. Black, white, and brown had to work for the living. They didn't fall from the salsa tree. Now, this is what happens when you make people dependent on handouts. That's what happens. People seem to ignore the fact that people had to work for their money during apartheid. Yep, that's a fact. Paid $2 for the microphones here in China. Gideon, $2, man. Well, that's probably what they actually cost. but I paid $38. So, yeah, I paid $7 for a Frappuccino, so they saw me coming. Happy slappy. People should worry when Americans start flying a black American flag. I don't know what that would be about. They're going after Tulsi Gabbard now, too, by the way, folks. Where did I leave off at? U.S. tariffs deliver crippling blow to Nelson Mandela Bay Company. I'm going to save that page in case I lose it. Here we go. All right. Here's more corruption. You know, every time we turn around, Fikile Mbalula says, bring on the sanctions. Well, buddy, this is why you're going to get sanctions eventually. Seta board raked in $6 million a year. The previous board members, the manufacturing, engineering, related services, pocketed more than $6.2 million in the financial year. This according to parliamentary reply to a question raised by Democratic Alliance member of Parliament Leda Matalodi Masiko. That's her. So they make it look like she's a corrupt one. She's actually a DA person. She's the one who asked for it. It's no coincidence that Gwede Mantashe's son was to be deployed to this board until the DA intervened to expose this brazen cater deployment. We succeeded in stopping it in its tracks. It has to be an ANC insider feeding frenzy until the DA intervened. Yep, and these are members of the same government. Springbok Replay Zone. Good morning. My dad in Iowa is so looking forward to me coming USA on the refugee program. Your dad in Iowa? Wow, that's interesting. Your dad's in Iowa. I assume he's a South African. And I assume you're a Springbok fan. Please tune in and join me for Rugby Ascended on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when we cover the Currie Cup. And then before I fly to England, I'll be covering the Springboks against Australia. Tulsi Gabbard has bigger kahunas than many. Hope she stays safe. Yeah, she's just not qualified for the job she's doing. And Leslie Wilson with a 70 rand. Thanks for the foot-thumping morning wake-up. Hope you sleep well. Thank you. More wishes to all Safas. JTG says Fikile is a talking toilet. Okay. Dogzilla says South Africa, like other countries, will try to find some alternative trading economy to work with. Yeah, okay, that's all fine and dandy, but there's no one's going to buy their stuff. The country's already full. Do you think that China's just begging for cars from South Africa? Do you think China's just desperate for more wine from South Africa? Do you think China's just desperate for anything? Do you think the European countries are? No, the markets are saturated. What can be bought is being bought. Good luck finding alternatives, especially when you wait till the day the tariffs take effect before you actually start making plans. Stupid people should wear signs in the ANC. Kanye Mugahabane says EFF has proven to the ANC that it's a trustworthy partner. This comes to the ANC. NEC resolved to reset the GNU. Yeah, well, I'm so sick of hearing this. The ANC is resetting the GNU. They don't have any authority to do it. It's a clown car show. It's an agreement. Why are no journalists in South Africa making this point? Why I'm not even in South Africa? Why I'm the only person, and even the DA doesn't do this. It's an agreement. They did initially. Helen Zilla said this initially. I said it before she said it, and then she started saying it publicly. This is an agreement between the DA and the ANC, not the other 8 parties, and not NCC under Fidel Adams or Action SA under Herman Mashaba. No. This is an agreement between the DA and the ANC. So the ANC can't kick the DA out. The ANC can't reset. That's nonsense. China's flooding our country with products like mass. Yes, Rudolph Skeppers. I've been saying that for years. Eugene DeVette is keeping the faith. Well, hang in there, Eugene. I hope it goes better for you. I read somewhere the American flag colors mean a lot of different things. Red flag, no quarter given. Well, flags mean different things. That's why we have them. They're battle standards. They're also means of communication, semaphores at sea. Apparently, a dictatorship is allowed to dissolve the GNU, change the constitution basically. Well, Nikki, I think you might be right about that. That might be the plan. Devi Sankari Govinder TV show. What is that? IOL News. Okay, you know better, Suman Terry, than put all caps in there. Stop it. And why are you mentioning IOL? IOL is a toilet paper record. Lady R went back to the Black Sea. I don't know if it stopped in Iran, though. I don't know about that. Diluting blame. Well, the problem, Conrad, is the ANC can do as it pleases. That's the bottom line. Well, China is fighting the chikungunya virus. Yeah, this is the latest. Now China is going to export more terror to the world. Yeah, with drones, fines, and nets as thousands fall ill. Chinese authorities using nets, spraying insecticide, and even deploying drones to fight mosquito-borne chikungunya virus, which infected thousands of people. More than 7,000 cases of the virus as of Wednesday in the Chinese manufacturing hub of Foshan, 105 miles from Hong Kong. It's the largest outbreak ever documented in China. It's never been established in mainland China before. It suggests that most of the population had no pre-existing immunity, making it easier for the virus to spread quickly. Yep, I'll stop it. I'm not donating to the AP. On the eve of tariffs, Brazilian beef exports hit record high in July. That looks very unappetizing. Exports of fresh beef from Brazil reached a record 276,900 metric tons in July, showing a steep rise before a hefty U.S. tariff applied on sales from the world's biggest beef exporter. U.S. used to be the world's biggest beef exporter, but we've destroyed our beef industry. White House plans to increase federal law enforcement in the district over crime as Trump threatens to bring in the National Guard. Do it. So they brought in the National Guard to treat our nation's capital as an occupied by foreign power, by a corrupt, illegitimate regime of Joe Biden. They employed the National Guard, left them in parking garages without toilets and without rations for days on end in horrific conditions until the press revealed what was being done to our National Guard soldiers. They put fences up so that the people couldn't access the people's property, the Capitol building and its grounds, and made it look like we were a third world African dictatorship taken over by a corrupt regime, which we were. All the while, they perpetrated a fraudulent narrative of January 6th and an insurrection, which was never an insurrection. So the very people who led an insurrection against this country and then fraudulently claimed the mantle of leadership blocked us from going to the Capitol. So I think it's ironic and sweet justice for Trump to activate the National Guard, then occupy the mayor's office, occupy all the centers of power in the District of Columbia, and take over the District of Columbia and run it because it belongs to the federal government, to the American people, not to Muriel Bow Wow Bowser. Never heard of it? Oh, I've heard of it, Nikki. I have a background in epidemiology too. Hantavirus, Ebola, West Nile virus. This one here, yep, all kinds of stuff. Yep. Anyway, another virus. So here's the tariffs, folks, the new tariffs and the existing ones. Okay, trade deals and tariffs with every country. So the ones in blue have a deal. The UK, the European Union, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia all have deals. New rates, and some of them went down. A lot of Africa rates went down. Yep. And the deadline for China and Mexico were extended. They gave more time. Then the baseline, 10%, is for the rest. So there you go. Dozens more countries face higher taxes on exports to the U.S. as Trump's tariffs come into effect. Dozens of countries face higher taxes. Sweeping reciprocal tariff levies announced by the White House a week ago, just before a previous 1 August deadline was due to elapse, were in place as of a minute past midnight, Washington. So they're in effect now. Yep, the only thing that can stop America's greatness would be a radical left court that wants to see our country fail, said the president. Oh, look at Lula. He's got a headache. Trump's giving him a headache. Don't know what's going on in Switzerland. They're desperately trying to reduce those rates, and I don't think they had any success. They've been here for a couple days, and they still got 39%. Well, this is cool. Border agents have resorted to pretty cool stuff. Trojan horse. Border agents jump out of a rental truck and ambush people at Los Angeles Home Depot. Operation Trojan Horse. Masked officers in unmarked vehicle arrest 16 people despite court order halting raids. Well, the court order is illegitimate, so more power to them. U.S. Border Patrol agents carried out a raid outside a Home Depot in Los Angeles on Wednesday with officers jumping out of an unmarked rental truck and chasing and arresting more than a dozen people. Videos of the federal officers and statements boasting about detentions have raised questions about whether the U.S. government was complying with the federal court order, halting indiscriminate raids in the region due to evidence of racial profiling. There's no evidence of racial profiling. Hispanics are white. So what, are we profiling white people now? That's not racial profiling. Stupid stuff. Anyway, I love it. They used a Penske truck to do it. Education should be free. Primary school and should be free. No one should have to pay for that. Absolutely. No one should have to pay. All right, don't talk about virtues. That was my fight yesterday. A person said there are no viruses. Huh? We diagnosed, okay, published it. There's always a virus. There's viruses out there all the time. It's RNA, recombinant nucleic acid. Okay. Anyway, so, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. 2 hours and 15 minutes. The crowd's growing on a Thursday morning. It is Thursday, isn't it? Yeah. Thursday, August 7th. All right, got to hit the rack, get some rest. I'll chat with you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Appreciate the super chat money. Thank you, Herman, and whoever else gave money. I can't remember off the top of my head. Why is Zoom open? The Zoom window is open. That's why that thing popped up on the screen. Okay. Uncle Duncan's Electronics. It's a tropical disease first seen in 1953. Yes, I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with it. Yeah, I actually used it as for a scenario for humanitarian aspect of a military exercise. I used that virus for a Southeast Asian nation as a deadly virus. Put it in there. Yep. All right, because it had a high enough fatality rate that it wasn't out of control, but something you couldn't ignore. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Cheers. Have a good night. Be sure to hit the like button. All righty. Thanks for helping me do the latest song, Sanctions, State of Mind. That was pretty fun. So, good night. No bugger off bunny tonight. Cheers, everybody.